you're in North Little Rock, Arkansas, at the North Little Rock Municipal Airport at the offices of SportAir USA.
Now, Dan Johnson was down here a couple of years ago, or over here a couple of years. He said that it was totally different from what I'm seeing here today.
Well, I don't know whether it's totally different, but we did have a little tornado that blew through and changed things a little bit. We moved into one of our hangars instead of a new building that we had prepared. So we're in this hangar right now, which is now our offices, and it's working quite fine, thanks.
I noticed when I walk right through the door that you immediately know that you have something to do with aviation here.
Well, it might be that there's an airplane hanging from the ceiling. That would be one of the first things I would guess.
What model of airplane is that?
It's a high-wing Sirius. It's actually not an aircraft, it's a model. It's the first pull from the molds on the carbon fiber testing, and they kept snapping together and doing perfectly. They built a complete airplane with no changes to the mold, and they painted it and shipped it to us. So we announced it at Oshkosh that year.
So how long have you been dealing with the light sport, or in the light sport aircraft industry then?
About as long as it's been there. Not as original as some people like the folks that run CT. There are guys here that have given their business almost to the loss of their business to get the light sport work completed, and I came in on the middle of that and joined all the committees, and I've been active in it for the past 10 to 11 years.
Now, how many aircraft then do you represent?
We have 4 models that we represent in the light sport business, and 1 experimental.
And they are?
The Sting, the new S4, the Sirius, TL-3000, a high wing, looks a little like a 172. The Nomad, which is a small Rotex-driven Cub-like plane, and the, of course, Outback, which is our most popular airplane right now, 180 horsepower of Super Cub.
Now, why deal with 4 different manufacturers or 4 different aircraft? Why so many airplanes?
Well, I don't think any one, we're not the manufacturer, we're the manufacturer's representative, and not any one model can solve everyone's mission needs. So we started branching out years and years ago and picking other manufacturers that we thought had the quality and had the ability to make an aircraft that we could stand behind.
So how did you find out about these aircraft then? I mean, these aircraft were not here initially. Did you have to go overseas to find them? Or?
I've made 34 trips to Europe in the last 10 years, working with my comrades over there and working back and forth to improve both quality control and bringing Americanization to some of their production facilities and the type of aircraft so that they meet the needs of our customers.
Now, for example, say we take the Sirius. What is all Americanized in the Sirius then?
Well, basically they bought a 172 and started modeling in 3 dimensions. They're really quite good with 3D modeling. And they modeled a 2-seat 172 in carbon fiber, and that's where the Sirius came back.
But is it being sold as a 2-seater? I mean, the 172 is really a 4-seat aircraft.
Yes, but it's not sold as a 2-seater. All the light sports are 2-seaters. So it's a side-by-side 2-seater with a rather large baggage compartment behind it.
And how many of those are flying in the world now?
About 78 in the world, and about a third that amount here in the U.S.
So sales have been pretty good then.
Well, it's a very handy airplane, and it's done well for us.
Now, that's a high-wing, a composite airplane, but I also saw you at the Midwest LSA Expo. You had a low-wing composite.
Yeah, we originally searched Europe a lot and found a low-wing aircraft that we really liked, and it's called the Sting, and it's from the same manufacturer that makes the Sirius. But it's there's about 100 of those running around the U.S. and about 500 in the world, and it's my favorite airplane if I want to fly. It's like riding in a bubble with very nimble controls, and it's I have a little bit of a fighter pilot background, just enough to where I really enjoy the view and the flexibility of high speed and low speed. It's one of the few airplanes I've seen that has a 5-to-1 ratio of the stall speed to the VNE.
But then you go from it to the Savage line of aircraft, and I mean that's a totally different line of style.
It's a totally different mission. You know, if you're going somewhere in a Sirius or a Sting, you're going in comfort and at speed. If you're going somewhere in an Outback, you're out much lower at altitude, looking around, enjoying the scenery, and yet every place is a place to land with the type of wheels and the setup that it has. It's an outback country aircraft that's really viable for everything except maybe hauling moose, because it is light sport even with 180 horsepower.
That was the other thing. I mean, we did some filming at the Midwest. That thing basically took off and climbed out in the width of the runway, never mind the length.
Well, it can. It's a 60-foot takeoff roll solo and about 80-foot takeoff roll with dual. So depending on the width of your runway, you could do it that way. And it's really made for getting into places that you can get out of. Many airplanes can arrive in a place and find out either temperature or density, altitude, or even the shortness of the runway that they've landed on. They can't depart until maybe cool of the evening or in the morning. But with this airplane, you can get in and out.
Yeah, but this is, from my knowledge, is a brand new airplane to the market. Why introduce that style of aircraft?
Savage aircraft has been in the country for about 7 years. During that time, they've matured into a really nice little Rotax-driven, very efficient, very reliable aircraft. But the market was looking for something with a little more power and a little more oomph. So the company designed a new airframe and a new engine attachment to it that uses a Titan 180 horsepower engine, and it's been very popular. It provides a really short takeoff roll and an astronomical climb rate, really for a good market price.
Now, when you say Titan, is that an aircraft again, or an engine that is new to the market?
No, Titan is an engine company that was initially providing parts for Lycoming and then developed their own experimental line and have since developed a line and been purchased by Continental. So it's really Continental Titan engines. So it's a production line of engines now.
Now, you talked about the Savage aircraft, Rotax driven. Is it a derivative of the Outback then?
It shares some characteristics, but mostly in looks. The entire airframe, the wings, the tails are totally different. The Outback is a copycat of a Super Cub. We don't use the word Cub anymore. It's owned by another manufacturer who asked us to desist. But the Nomad is our ex-Cub, and the Cub S, which was to be the super version of the Cub, is now called the Outback. And they share a common look, but no parts will interchange except maybe the tires.
So you're in Little Rock, Arkansas. That's a long way from Europe. How long does it take you to get, say I place an order today, how long before I can have one of these aircraft?
It'd take about 90 days. It's a 3-month delivery time, and then sometimes, depending on the shipping methods, we had one container that took 45 days, a recent one that arrived, and it made stops all along the coast until finally our container arrived. They arrived 2 aircraft disassembled in the container. They've already been test flown for about 5 hours. So we reassemble them and do avionics installations to the customer's order, and then bring the customer here and train him and send him home.
So you do actually do the training then if someone buys an airplane, whether it's just a transition or whether it's taking them right from ground zero and
yes, we've worried a little bit about quality control and fleet safety. So if someone buys one of our models from someone else in the country, we'll provide 5 hours of CFI training and 10 hours of ground school at no charge to that buyer, even though we are not a part of the package, because we really want to back up the safety features and the ability to fly the plane.
What about the service for these aircraft? I mean, again, you're down in the lower states, say someone in California or someone in Minnesota wanted one of these aircraft. How are you going to be able to service them? It's
really surprising. We have 14 dealers scattered around the country for heavy maintenance, but you can find a Rotax or a maintenance facility within 30 minutes of any airport. I wasn't sure of that. People here, the mechanics that work for us, they take Rotax training every year, and they said, you know, they're all over it. And sure enough, practically anyone can find a Rotax maintenance facility within 30 minutes of where they are. And the Lycoming type engine, the Titan engines on the Outback, of course, anyone at any airport can work on that engine. It's not new. It's 1935 design, so it's available commonly at any airport.
What type of price ranges are we looking at from your aircraft?
But we offer aircraft all the way from 70,000 to 170,000, depending on mostly on the avionics and the type. We have an open aircraft called the Bobber that we can put you in for really about $70,000, and a very slick high-speed aircraft, the Sting S4, for about 170, and all of them are anywhere in between. So they're available at a reasonable price. What we found more and more is that we're getting one or two owners interested in buying because they find, very similar to a sailboat, the first year you can't find a way to get access to it, and the second year you sort of call each other, and the third year you just go out and use it, and two owners are really prime for proper use of an aircraft.
So you have a program then that assist someone in doing that?
Yes, we've done the legal paperwork and the operating agreements for more than one owner to set up an LLC, and the bank financing that we have has agreed that they will provide up to 4 owners, and then the paperwork gets a little complicated. At 4, it's more like buying a high-end car than worrying about an aircraft.
So if someone wanted to get a little more information from you, Bill, what's the easiest way to do that?
Probably the website, sportair.aero, sportair.aero. We're at North Little Rock, Arkansas, but we serve both coasts. Please give us a call, 501-228-7777.